Hey, Dr. Lindsey and Wendy, we're going to briefly discuss an article in Dermatologic Surgery, May 2021, page 674. We have no interest in this article to promote it for any reason. But, and Wendy doesn't know about it.
I don't.
So, remember how we talked about on FUE, or any hair transplant, the more you muck around with a hair graft, the less likely it is to work.
Yes.
And the trouble with FUE, or do I have something I can pull on?
Right here.
Yes. Well, that's not really it, is it?
Well, it's like this. I'll show you. It's right there.
All right. So with an FUE, you're coming in over top of it.
Yeah. So you
grab it and then pull. And it's that pull that rips a little bit of the root off. And hairs don't like that.
and
Trees don't. Hairs don't like that, and trees don't like that. But with a strip, there's not that pull. It's just each person cutting. But with an FUE, there's definitely that pull. And skinny hairs have more fragile roots, and the roots just rip apart. And fat hairs often can take that to some extent. So in this little article, essentially the bottom line of 70 hair follicles in each group, the number of successfully grafted follicles was 71% in the intact group, and 50% that had some injury, and in the ones that the root got fractured, 40% of the grafts survives. So grafts with minor injury had significantly lower survival rates than grafts that didn't have any injury. Well, that's just common sense, but finally we got
somebody saying that they've been telling you.
Quack from Korea that is saying that. That supports
What we tell
Right, yeah.
patients. And when you do that example, and they say, well, Dr. Lindsey, couldn't you go deeper so you don't have that pull? What happens when you go deeper? So
one of two things. Either the whole thing collapses in, or everything just shreds and nothing comes out. Right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when we talk to patients about FUEs, and I think we are always talking to patients because when they come in here, the first thing they say is like, I want FUE.
Yep.
Because they hear is the new, it's the modern thing. Like everybody's looking to do what's new. And it's what's new is supposed to be what's best.
And there's a lot of machines that do it, and essentially any mower-on can buy a machine and start doing it. It's just not every mower-on can do it successfully, right? And so FUE is hard. In fact, we've had two people, now we've been doing FUE since 2008, it's 2021. We've had two guys, a straight-haired Filipino medical school professor and a black athlete just 3 weeks ago.
We couldn't
that
do
we
anything.
couldn't get any hair out of them.
Yes.
And they both had, you'd think with the Filipino guy we could hit the angle, they all just shredded apart. And the black guy, you'd think that the roots would be so good they would come out. We got the angle, it's just the roots just pulled apart.
It had a different texture.
Yeah.
It was when it's pulling, it's just the dermis
Yeah.
came out, but
Yeah.
the root was staying in there.
Right.
But we had the right angle. We had the depth that it needed to. I mean,
And
we did.
And we did a strip the next day on the guy, and it was super easy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you do a strip, you do the slivers and you just cut in between. There's not much trauma to those grafts if you had good cutters
Right.
to do it.
And
yeah.
just to clarify, we don't do a bait and switch we sell you an FUE and then we switch over. It's been two
we never
guys,
do that.
And both of them, we had this, like we do with everybody, we have a discussion. If we can't get hair out of you, and it's happened twice now in 13 years, you have a choice. You can quit and go home, or you can switch to a strip, or you can sleep on it and switch to a strip. And so the medical school professor immediately switched to a strip back in 2014 or 15. And this guy, he wanted to switch, but he already had a valley, so I made him go home and sleep on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's common sense. The more trauma that you give to a hair, whether it's FUE or strip or hitting your head with a soccer ball after a hair transplant, the less likely things are that's going to grow. If we can help you, give us a call.